is there a sort of average, just because maybe it will help me to have a goal in mind, but an average sort of, I don't know, amount of time in terms of weeks or months, but from the point where you do start regularly, putting these things in place to when you might start to notice.
Yeah,
some kind of
it varies obviously from person to person.
Yeah,
but
of
kind of rules of thumb. Most people will notice some sort of initial benefit within a week to a month. You already experienced in 2 or 3 days of doing meditation that at the end of the meditation you felt a bit calmer.
Mm-hmm.
If you built upon that and you built that out as a pattern, you can see that homeostatic balance I was talking about earlier would start to reduce and would start to come down.
Yeah.
At a month to 3 months, I think most people will notice a more stabilized shift. So initially it's like you're still at the same homeostatic balance, but you can come out of it for a bit and feel a bit calm when you go back to it. 1 to 3 months, I think what often happens is you actually start to shift that foundation and shift that balance.
Okay.
But I think that there is to build a new habit, it generally takes 28 days. There's different research, but probably fairly consistent 28 days. And that's because you do something enough times and you just sort of become familiar with doing it. So it takes more energy to get a car from stationary to 10 miles an hour than it does from 10 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour. So like if a car breaks down and we need to push it to get it started, it takes a few people to get the car going.
Yeah.
Once it's moving, one person can keep it going. So the hardest thing is getting started. Getting started, also there's few things more motivating than noticing a difference. So initially it's often, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm fed up. I've tried so many things. I can't really be bothered. And it takes a certain amount of grit and grunt to just go, right, I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But then if we start to see some benefit, it's like, well, actually, I can sort of see that's a bit better.
Exactly.
And then that becomes, you need motivation to make something happen from nothing.
Yeah.
But once something's happening, that becomes the motivation. And then if you go off track, you've still got that reference point to go back and go, okay, it's really hard. I ran out of motivation, but I can see that I did this thing that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we need to have a bit of a strong conversation with ourselves, or we talk about it, and then you get things back on track. Rarely is it a neat and tidy, perfect path. It takes discipline, but you don't lack discipline. Like we were talking about it as on our last session, on the first session, around when it comes to things like money, when it comes to things like your work, you're a disciplined person.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people which are irresponsible and reckless around money that have no discipline around it. From what I understand, that's an area you have got discipline. But it's about applying that discipline to this part of your life.
Yeah, for sure.